I know some people have been waiting for an update in this story. Well, I hate to disappoint you. There's not a big update here, but there is something to update, and it is important. It's significant to talk about. Let me get this lady's face back up on the screen so you can know exactly what I'm talking about. Y'all know who this is, Kelly Marie Bryant. We've talked about this before. This story has done quite well on this channel. We're going to give you guys a little bit of an update here because I know more than anything, people were concerned, like what was going on with these kids? What is the verdict going to be in this situation? We're still hoping to get justice. So let's continue to push for that. Y'all hit that thumbs up. Let me give you a disclaimer. Lady of three, take it away. Mommy of three, excuse me. I said lady of three. Mommy of three. Said that wrong.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
So actually, I didn't even get this update from any particular website, so I don't have to credit anybody, but there is a little bit of an update here. So, right, I want y'all to take notice of her trying to look cute in these pictures, right? She always wants to look on fleek, but she treats her children like crap, which that's not worth a damn in our society. Let me take a pause real quick. Let me say thank you to Tim P for taking on the $1 challenge in the chat, super chat. Thank you very much, and much love to Robin. Robin, if you are in the chat, I want to say thank you. I got your Cash App just now. I'm not going to read your whole name in case you got a different name in the chat. So if you're listening, thank you, Robin, Evelina, Deborah Dora, Lisa, and Reese 3002, and Laquita, and Tim P. And all right, let's keep going. Here we go. So here's what I have. So there's an Oakland judge who's basically presenting a situation to say that this woman, this alleged mother in this situation, probably shouldn't have custody of her kids, but that's a legal process. And for some strange reason, even though you might have a substantial amount of evidence pointing towards somebody being a crappy parent, crap, no pun intended. Y'all see all that crap on the wall and on the floors and toilets and whatever else, right? Crap in the tub. But it's a horrible situation that you can't just make that mandatory to see. Like, you know what? We have enough circumstantial evidence that this person is not a good parent. Even though you might not have proved it all the way in court, they shouldn't be having access to their children. So an Oakland County judge has found the grounds, thank goodness, to terminate the parental rights of Kelly Marie Bryant with a stank look on her face. A Pontiac alleged mother who left 3 children to live in squalor for over 3 years, but I thought they said it was 5. I think it was 3 children for 5 years, so maybe part of that might be wrong. But I know it was for a matter of years because they said it was around COVID, so that would have been around 2020 or 2021. The 3 children were discovered during a welfare check in February of 2025 and were found living in conditions so severe that hazmat suits were required for the investigators to wear before they were even able to enter the house because it smelled like death in there. And it was hazardous, and I don't even know how the kids survived as long as they did. Don't know, but I'm glad they did. So here's some details. So on February 14th of 2025, deputies found Bryant's 3 children who were ages 12, 13, and 15. Again, you have to minus 5 years off of that. So that'd be 10, 8, and 7, I believe. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Yep. Living in a home filled with trash and human waste, and that waste was everywhere. Police reported that the children who were afraid to go outside had been living alone since at least 2021. So again, there you go. That's why it wasn't 3 years. It had to have been closer to about 5. So prosecutor Karen McDonald said that the children had not been to school since being abandoned and struggled with basic hygiene tasks to the point to where they didn't know how to brush their teeth. They didn't know how to take a bath. They didn't even know how to properly use the bathroom, like animals or something. Can y'all imagine that? Like freaking animals. In February of 2025, Bryant, this alleged mother, was charged with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse and 3 counts of welfare fraud. Why? Because she was getting benefits off of these kids. And what do we call that at the AFC? What's one of my famous hashtags that I have on my shirts? So I sell them on my shirts so people know it's actually my hashtag, hashtag babies for benefits, which is an AFC podcast hashtag. Welfare fraud. So she had all these kids and abused them and left them hanging like this because this place was not being paid for by her. And she went off to go live the good life and go get her some dick and attention. Shout out to Tommy because I got that from him. From some other man who was probably going to end up providing her more kids and her getting more benefits and her probably going to end up abandoning those kids too. So the same thing that she wanted attention for, the same kids that she clearly did not want to properly take care of, the same activities is what's going to cause her to have more kids. That I don't understand. When you have all the options as a woman, and again, I'm putting this on the women because y'all have a lot of power. Does everybody understand that? Do all my ladies in the chat understand that you have a lot of laws in your favor, a lot of power in your hands? Yes? When you're talking about the power to choose life, the power to choose condoms, the power to use prophylactics, the power to use sponges and what do they call it? Abortions and safe haven laws that you can give your kids away, adoptions, all of these methods, and you avoid everything, including abstinence, which is also an effing option. Abstinence. We avoid all of these things, and then you get to a point where you had a kid and then avoid the safe haven, you avoid adoption, you avoid all of that, and still turn around and say that the man who gave you the semen is the problem, when in all actuality, you could go down to the sperm bank and go pick you up a tube of that stuff and still have a kid without a man actually being present. So it's beyond me the fact that we have this level of when you try to hold women accountable. And I'm going to say it just as plain as that. It's ridiculous that we don't have women en masse who are going and excoriating people like this. Women have to excoriate their own because they're not listening to men. I'm sorry, they're just not. I know of very few women that would take leadership from a man, but they will from a woman. So at the point that we are in this society, they're not really listening to us. It would be up to the women to hear it from a good source like myself. I think I'm a pretty decent source as a father, as a man, as a responsible person, or trying to be a responsible person, to say, here's what we need to do to make this thing better. When you see these young girls, these young women, and maybe I don't know if y'all are afraid of them because they are not afraid to fight and shoot and stab and run people over with cars and stuff. But I'm sorry, maybe some of y'all need to be out on the front lines and you know what? Maybe take some of these verbal jabs, some of this, some of this vitriol that they have, and course correct them, because they're going in the wrong direction and they don't believe in any level of accountability. Can I give y'all a political example? Because I was watching Stephen A. Smith, and shout out to him in this podcast. Maybe everybody don't like him from SportsCenter or whatever, but I do from ESPN. I like Stephen A. Smith. I like to hear what he has to say. I don't always agree with his politics, and more times than none, I don't agree with his politics at all. But I wanted to point something out, because he's forever trying to help black people. If y'all haven't noticed how many black people have been hired on ESPN since he's been there, it's a pretty high number. So shout out to him and what he does. He actually recently was just trying to simply call out to, what's her name? God, her name just slipped my mind. Jasmine Crockett. If y'all don't know who Jasmine Crockett is, you can look it up. This is all kind of related to accountability. We're talking about accountability. And all he said is, if the way that you're going isn't in the best interest of your constituents, then why are you going in that direction? Couldn't you do something better? Couldn't you change something? Couldn't you be a little more better in what you're, a little more effective in what you're doing? And she turned around and asked for this man's entire platforms, plural, to be canceled. Just because he asked a question, couldn't you do it a better way? Couldn't you be more effective? That was her response. Cancel him. How dare you tell a black woman how to do things? And I use that example, and I'm like, you know what? I'll think about it. Now that I think about it, now that I really think about it, isn't that how the majority of these irresponsible bitchs, ain't that how they respond? Right? We're not talking about the good ones. We know it ain't all of y'all. It ain't all Judge Jay. We's got some good mothers out there, y'all. It's too freaking many. This one person had access and abused 3 children, and I think actually there was a 4th involved with this one, if I'm not mistaken. That's 3 human lives that she almost completely ruined. So for each of these individuals to be attached to so many children, it is detrimental. If we're talking about Black Lives Matter, since we're going to keep it on the black skin color, which I believe it does, then all of these situations matter and accountability has to happen, because if you can't change it here, you can't change it there. If you're not changing it there, it's not going to change in their actions. They don't see anything that they're doing wrong because their entire lives, they have never been held accountable by anybody. Maybe some of these women weren't raised with a father to instill some accountability, some balance. So if you're only raised by a woman, then it just becomes her dominion, her word, her way. And more times than none, if that mother has another focus of trying to find a man or keep a man, she generally don't want her young budding daughters around, because that might interfere with the man's attention. Therefore, a lot of these women end up leaving the house and trying to be up under somebody else who's going to take care of them, generally a man, way before they're supposed to. So they end up doing a bunch of stupid shit. This is how I use these stories as cautionary tales, to literally point this out and show you guys, how do we get here? How do you get to this house full of literal crap and be abandoned for this long and nobody finds out? You got a bunch of fathers that maybe aren't checking on their kids. I'm assuming she has more than one baby daddy, right? Don't know it for a fact, but statistics tell me that these broads love to just take semen and raw semen from whatever man that they allegedly are in a relationship with, or maybe just being situationalship with. And they end up having multiple kids by multiple men. So you got multiple men out there. If you know these men already ain't shit, then why do you deal with them? Why do you get pregnant by men who ain't shit, who haven't proven themselves financially or responsibly to be good parents? I just really don't understand that mentality. There has to be something about a man. You know, even if I could be talking to myself, I haven't been the most responsible person, but I can see what my daughter and my son's mother saw in me. They at least saw some level of common sense and somebody who seemed like they might be a good father. Whether you were right or wrong, I guess you would have to ask the kids that. I'm not claiming to be a great father. I'm claiming to be an all right father. So even if that's the case, then why do we continue to keep going to these sources for bad results? That's beyond me. Anyway, so let's get back to the story. Welfare fraud, and she's got a welfare weave on, by the way. If convicted of child abuse, she could face up to life in prison, which I think she deserves at least 20 years. Because she almost killed 3 people. In late September of 2025, so that's getting closer to this month, here's where the update comes in. An Oakland County judge, Lisa Langton, or is it Langston? I don't know. It says Langton, but it might be Langston, heard testimony regarding the neglect and concluded that the grounds exist for terminating parental rights. Langdon or Langston stated, the judge said, mom intentionally failed to provide protective care for these children. And I also want you guys to understand this for those who might not really know this story very well. She intentionally made sure that she knew at every point. She took batteries out of the smoke detectors so the smoke detectors wouldn't go out. That's giving it thought. That's intentional. That's intent. She made sure that her kids had a fear. She instilled that fear in them, told them don't open the door, don't go outside, don't answer anybody else outside of me. That's intentional. And then knowing that they're there by themselves all day, every day, and knowing that that's wrong, still chose to do it. Every bit of that, if this were a murder case, shows intent. So intent would mean that you would have to be held accountable for what the F you did, right? You have to be held accountable because you knew better. You said Jasmine Crockett is trying to be ghetto. She was raised privileged. Oh, I know. I know. She talks with that ignorance, but you know what? She's gotten a lot of support by being ignorant. But you know how funny that is? How your people like your Sexy Reds and all of these folks, you know, they get a whole lot of support acting ignorant. Maybe if I get on here and start acting ignorant and shucking and jiving, maybe I'll get a lot more support. But you know what? I'm going to stay true to myself. Maybe we're not going to do all that. But I digress. Brian's attorney argued against termination, saying the mother still provided some care, such as dropping off food. That fat man needs to be punched in his triple throat. Not literally. I'm not asking for, because boy, now that I think about it, we're living in a climate that's probably not a great thing to say. But I'm talking about proverbially, not literally, not literally. Please don't ever, nobody do that. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm just saying he needs to shut the F up forever, talking about at least he brought them some food. If she didn't, they for damn sure be dead. So all you have to do is just make sure your kids don't die. And you should be able to keep your parental rights. Do anything you want to. Abuse them any type of way you want to. That is just a horrible defense. I would love to be the judge in this situation. However, testimony revealed that this alleged Mother Bryant had taken steps to hide the children from family members who might have actually helped them. A final decision on terminating Bryant's parental rights, and here's where the update comes in, will be made as a best interest hearing case, which is scheduled for December of 2025. So for people going forward, if you want to hear when the next update is going to come, December of this year. So we still got a couple months left, or a little bit less than that. The children were placed in the care of a relative and are receiving therapy. A foster care specialist testified that they are showing physical and emotional improvement. But again, you're talking about almost 5 years of being one way. They're going to have to unlearn all of that lack. What am I trying to say? They're going to have to unlearn a lot of that neglect. And that could be a very, very difficult thing to do. Let me give you guys the fair usage, and then we'll take a look. I only got 2 news videos, and then we'll go from there.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Y'all would, and I will check my email here in just a second. I got you. If y'all would, do me a favor and please hit that thumbs up. You can even post some hashtags in the hashtag Justice for the Kids. Thank you for that hashtag. Truth Sayer, thank you. Please hit that thumbs up. If you haven't already done it, we want to have at least 1 thumb up for everybody watching. So look at who's watching. We want to have 1 thumb up for everybody watching. Thank you for that donation. Shout out to Amanda Valentine. I got you. Thank you very much. Anybody else, links in the description box. Thank you, Jimmy D. Thank you, Corrine. I think you were the last three. Here we go. Let's get it.
Calling docket numbers 49 and 50, case numbers 2025-293-649-MC, case number 2025-293-653-FH, the People versus Kelly Bryant.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Nika Ferris on behalf of the people. Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Cecilia Kirandango up here on behalf and with Kelly Bryant.
Thank
She's present
you.
with me in court, Your Honor.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Kelly Bryant.
Thank you. I have this matter scheduled for a pretrial on both files, the file ending in 649 and the file ending in 653. I did receive a motion to quash that was precipied for hearing yesterday. I've now had an opportunity to review your response, so I'm going to rule on that motion today. I haven't prepared a written opinion in order. My staff attorney will do that, just a brief opinion in order, but I'm very comfortable. I've had an opportunity to review your motion and brief, your response motion and brief, and more importantly for today's decision-making, the transcript that was attached. I've had an opportunity to review the entirety of the transcript. So I am respectfully going to be preparing a written opinion denying the defendant's motion to quash. There's no question in the court's mind that to a probable cause standard that the testimony that was presented in front of Judge Walker supported that the crime was committed and that to a probable cause standard she committed it. The issues that you rose specifically with regard to serious mental harm to a probable cause standard were supported at the district court level. So I'm respectfully finding that Judge Walker did not abuse her discretion and denying the motion. Thank you, Your Honor. All right. Anything that can happen, that's kind of a shift, so you weren't expecting necessarily a ruling.
I've been checking the ROA literally up until right now.
So in terms of a meaningful pretrial, I'm assuming you've had at least some conversations. If it goes this way then, or if it goes
Not
that
really,
way.
Your Honor.
You notice, and somebody in the chat said that puppy mills take care of those dogs better than she did these babies, and I have to agree. Y'all notice how she got her hair on fleek. You notice how she got a purse and outfit and got herself done up real nice. Really nice. Because keep in mind, I think she is out on bond or bail or something like that. I think that she's out on bond. That's why she's not dressed in prison garb. But yeah, she looking on fleek. I bet you she still smells bad.
Okay. Intention to do that?
Yes.
Okay. So should I set it for another pretrial in maybe a week, 2 weeks, to give you an opportunity to talk about the fact that that ruling has been made and the charges stand at the time being?
Yes, and 1 week is no good for me. So if it could be, well, and if it's at 1:30, I just need to check if that's okay.
I think it makes the most sense to conduct this at 1:30. I think it makes the most sense. Could we have a date at least 2 weeks out at 1:30 to have a meaningful pretrial?
That would be Thursday, July 24th.
Judge, can I just check my calendar?
Yes, please do.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. I wasn't trying to hit that button. But you said, didn't she call her kids from jail? I think she attempted to, yes. I believe she attempted to. So to answer your question, Amanda, yes, I believe she did. Which is why I, when it happened, was saying, y'all got to cut her off. Of course, her defense attorneys are going to try to argue for things that's in her personal interest, but that's a danger to them kids. She don't need to know what they doing, when they doing, how they doing. Don't need to talk to them. Hey, how you doing? Nothing. She needs zero contact. This woman needs zero contact from kids that she was abusing. So yeah, to answer your question, was she trying to call the kids from jail? Yes, I believe she was. And that puts them in even more of a danger. So a person who has abused kids should never have access to them ever again. That should be it for life. You've abused the kids, that should just be the end of it. So to answer your question, yes, you're right.
Ms. Mayor, so you can check yours as well. Thank you. And then you can both tell me, does this give you enough time? I want it to be meaningful.
I'm just going to tell the court that I think we're going to probably pursue an interlocutory appeal. I just need to talk to Mr. Gonick too. He's out of town this week. So if that's what we're doing, it would not be a meaningful pretrial in 2 weeks. So I don't know if the court wants to schedule it, and I can let the court know he returns on Friday, well, tomorrow.
I will set it for a pretrial on July 24th, but out of respect for everybody's time, let us know if you are filing.
Yes, John, and the afternoon is fine on the 24th if we're doing a pretrial.
Let's do July 24th at 1:30, please.
Okay, Tempe in the chat said, yes, she called her kids from jail and she had other inmates calling her kids. So again, she knows exactly what she's doing. And to any responsible human being, especially a judge, prosecutors, or anybody who's in that situation trying to defend them kids should understand that that's wrong, and she knows exactly what she's doing. That's why I believe that if you can give her a life sentence, she should have to suffer. She should have to serve a life sentence. If y'all are watching, please hit that thumbs up. I see we got a few people in the building. We want to have one thumb up for everybody watching. So if you ain't hit that thumbs up yet, please hit that thumbs up. Yes, we're live. This is not a premiere video. We are live. Let's go.
And a note from pretrial supervision is good, I believe. Let me make sure.
I haven't received anything bad. So.
She's been compliant with her weekly check-ins, did not incur any GPS tether violations, and understands the terms of her bond. No assaultive conduct, no contact with minors, no contact with minor victims or their caregivers, direct or indirect, home confinement tether except for medical emergencies, court or court-ordered testing, no travel without specific permission of the court, employment if verified. But at this point in time, is she employed?
She's not, Yana, and that was going to be one of my questions for the court, because she does need to look for employment, and I just wanted to make sure that if she was to interview somewhere, that she was allowed to go do that. When she comes to my office, we let pretrial services know, and that hasn't been a problem. I just wanted to make sure that if she needed to travel somewhere for an interview for employment, that that would be okay with the court.
She can travel for an interview with permission ahead of time.
Yes, no, that's what we've done, and it's working out so far. They've been good.
We will see you July 24th.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Thanks for being on time, ready to go.
Oh, always, yeah.
She's laughing. Y'all see that? I promise you, she doesn't believe she's going to really be held accountable. Anyway, I got one more video on this one. Here we go.
Well, now to a major update. The mom accused of abandoning her 3 children in a home of squalor, facing a judge today.
And who could forget the horrific conditions those children were living in when Oakland County deputies discovered them during a welfare check. That was back in February. Hazmat crews called to clean out the place. Investigators say the children slept alone there for several years, afraid to venture out.
Well, today a judge ruled that there is enough evidence against their mother, Kelly Bryant, and ordered her to stand trial.
That decision coming after new details were revealed in court, with detectives saying Bryant confessed when she said, quote, "I sacrificed my children." 7 News Detroit reporter Sarah Michaels in court as some of Bryant's secrets were being revealed.
Observation was what appeared to be feces covering their clothing, in their hair.
February 14th, Oakland County Sheriff's detectives were horrified to find 3 children, ages 12, 13, and 15, living in mold, feces, and squalor, abandoned in this Pontiac home for 4 to 5 years.
I've never smelt a home that smelled that bad without a decomposing body present.
Friday, 3 months later, their mother, 34-year-old Kelly Bryant, was in court physically for the first time for her preliminary examination. Prosecutors brought forth the detectives who found her children and who interviewed Bryant herself. Detective Brish saying he'll never forget meeting Bryant at the police station 1 hour after they found her kids hiding in a bathtub full of feces.
Her hair was done. She was wearing what appeared to be new clothes that were clean. She had long, fake nails.
Detectives say that Bryant was always living within walking distance of the children she abandoned. She hadn't touched them or given them hygiene products for years. She would have food dropped off to them about once a week, and she confessed to detectives.
She knew that her actions were selfish. That was her wording, and that it made her children sick. And that she ultimately sacrificed her children for her own purposes.
According to detectives, Bryant's children were found in soiled clothes, hunched over with toenails several inches long. Bryant admitted to telling the children to never leave or open the door, purposely instilling a deep fear within them.
In those interviews, the court heard from all 3 victims about their irrational fear of strangers, pedophiles, and being blackmailed.
Further evidence brought forth revealed that Bryant would communicate mostly with the oldest boy through sporadic text messages. He had his mother listed in his phone as world's greatest mom. She had her children listed as my oldest, kid 1, and kid. Bryant would communicate mostly with the oldest boy through sporadic text messages. He had his mother listed in his phone as world's greatest mom. 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 Listed in his phone as world's greatest mom.
Do y'all hear the audacity? The audacity to list yourself in your child's phone while your kids are living in feces, filth, stink, mold, trash, no type of hygiene at all, no baths, no clean clothes, no nothing. And she said, I am the world's best mom. So if the standard of world's best mom is lower than a bow-legged caterpillar, why the hell would we ever want a good mom? Like what? Yeah, Shay, you heard that correctly. She called herself in her own child's phone world's best mom. That is psychological damage. And she don't give a damn. Walked out the courtroom smiling. Isn't that something?
She had her children listed as my oldest, kid 1, and kid 2.
I would speak on the severity of the situation and my concerns for the children on their path to recovery and moving forward. And typically her response would be, is there anything I can do to help myself?
Detectives said that Bryant told them she lied to all of her family to keep her children hidden. She took the batteries out of the smoke detector in the home, so there was no risk of the fire department or police officers ever coming by. The defense argues that after the children were discovered in their care house interviews, the children did not seem to be suffering from severe mental harm.
Those children were articulate. They were answering questions.
Ultimately, the judge did not agree. She sent Bryant to stand trial on 3 counts of first-degree child abuse and 3 counts of welfare fraud.
There's no question that this is an extraordinary case.
In Pontiac, Sarah Michaels, 7 News Detroit.
Again, that's probably the biggest update that you're going to get up until maybe December, when I'm assuming that they're going to terminate her parental rights. Because why should she have kids? Why should she have rights? You don't deserve rights. Rights are a thing that you should have to earn. They're inherently given to you, but you should have to earn them by way of making sure that your kids have everything that they need, from clothes, food, hygiene, education, love, maybe even having both parents. Like, where has that whole process disappeared at, But I think children need the love of both parents, the support of both parents, not just a paycheck, because this is where we start to get into trouble. And I'm going to give another warning to my ladies out there. So a lot of time ladies are looking at it like, I don't want this man to be a father to my kids, but I do want his money. I do want his support to be there. Well, I'm going to tell you, if you think hard enough about it, that if you're going to go through the trouble of creating a child with a man, then it is his inherent right to be able to imprint some of his beliefs and love and compassion and his being a father to that kid just as much as you. That should be a divine right, not just taking a person's paycheck. That's weird to me. And it seems like that's what we've substituted, which is why we continue to keep having the rate of STDs in our community, which is why we have the rate of kids who are not doing well in school, why we continue to keep having poverty, because we are prioritizing wrong, which is why we continue to keep having the divorce rates as high as they are. We continue to keep having as much dysfunction in relationships as we do. Everybody agree with that? Have I said anything that anybody wants to disagree with? We're prioritizing wrong. She prioritizes her and nothing else. Hey, LA, look, they'll see what you said in the chat. I agree with you. It's craziness. But nonetheless, man, let me know what you guys think in the chat. Leave a comment, share this video in your true favorite crime groups, and we'll go from there. Let's try to make this thing go viral. Let's get this information out there, okay? Thank you. Let's go ahead and get story number 2 up here. So we're going to do story number 2 out of 8. Sorry, I know I had a lot to say about that one. I just don't like that woman. Like I could smell her through my screen. Like she looks like she probably smells like that house did. Now this one is actually an older case that I might have talked about one time, but we actually have a final update and a verdict in this particular case. So if y'all have not followed Sequoia Turner, this story, we did get at least, I think out of 2 people, we got a conviction. So we're going to talk about that, and let's keep this thing rocking. If I can keep my mouse working, I don't know what's going on with my mouse. Oh no, it seemed like this Bluetooth function don't want to function very well. So yeah, story number 2 out of 8. Thank you, Tanea. Says she looked like a dude I crossed over and dunked on back in the day. Yes, sir. Let's get it. Story number 2. Let's go. Y'all give me a second. How many people do we have watching Replace Them Batteries? I don't have a smoke detector going off. What smoke detector did you hear? I don't have those problems. Oh, you're talking. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I think I outthought you. You were talking about in this. Sorry. My bad. I was like, I didn't hear no beeping. When I think of Replace Them Batteries, I always think about the smoke detectors. But no, this one actually has a brand new battery in here. And that's one of them good Duracell joints too, one of them brand new things. I might need to replace this mouse though. I don't know. I like this mouse. It's not even that old. I don't know. These things just don't last long. Yeah, my bad. I was just like, what the hell? I don't hear no beeping around here. But no, I got you. My bad. My bad. Let's get it. I didn't even see how many people we have watching. We have about 172. That's good. Okay, y'all do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. If y'all can get us to 300 thumbs up, I want to give away some channel memberships. And I have, I've got actually about 10 that I want to do. But I will give 5 free ones out tonight. It's going to go randomly. If you don't have a channel membership, you might can get one. But I need y'all to hit that thumbs up. So we're at 132. I'm going to need 172 thumbs up. But we're trying to get to 300. Let's see if we can get there. We got 133. Thank you for hitting it. 135. Thank you. The number's going up. Thank you. Let's get through this next story. Got 137. Thank you. Keep going. Keep hitting that thumbs up. So clearly people hear me saying that. They're just not, I ain't got to click it. Even if you're on the TV watching, I notice a lot of my audience, I can look at the analytics. Y'all are watching from TVs. Hit that top button. When you see the little bar come up, press up over, and you should highlight the thumbs up, and then you just press that little button. If you got a Fire TV or whatever, hit that little smart button and hit the thumbs up. So just so y'all know, if you didn't know, you could do it that way on the TV too or the tablet. Here we go. This is going to be, at least, if I'm not mistaken, I think this might be a final update in this story coming out of Atlanta. So this little girl was involved in a crazy, tragic situation, and I don't like to refer to these situations as gun violence. Always say thugs with guns, because the guns themselves don't do anything. These are the individuals who are doing something with these tools. And they ended a girl's life. So let me tell you how they participated in this, give you guys a little bit of a background, but I'm going to give you the verdict that happened here. So let me give you a disclaimer, and then we'll go from there.
Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, new website articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer.
And thank you. We also have people who have been showing support by way of Cash Apps. If you're listening, thank you very much. I did get that. Thank you so much. So we're getting this story from 11alive.com. So thank you for the article. This is coming out of Atlanta. A man was found guilty in the deadly shooting of an 8-year-old girl that happened in 2020. So this was 5 years ago. It's taken this long to get at least some level of justice. The trial started on Wednesday, September 17th, and lasted for nearly 2 weeks. Julian Conley was accused of firing the shot that killed Sequoia Turner the night of July 4th of 2020. The state argued that surveillance footage shows Conley pulling the trigger, so they caught him on camera. However, the defense stated that no witness has definitively identified Conley in the video. Here's how the verdict was reached for the 3 murder charges and 5 aggravated assault charges in the case. So count 1, felony murder guilty. Count 2, felony murder guilty. Count 3, felony murder guilty. Count 4, aggravated assault guilty. Count 5 through 6, 7, and 8, aggravated assault guilty on all of those charges. Now, Conley was also found guilty on weapons charges, but the jury was split on the charges related to the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. After emotional statements from both families, including the mothers of Sequoia and Conley, the judge delivered Conley's sentence. So Conley's mother had pleaded with the judge to give leniency on her son due to the fact that he had served 5 years in the Fulton County Jail leading up to the trial, and had to endure the known harsh conditions inside the jail. That's why he deserves leniency. How do y'all feel about that in the chat? Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let me shout you out here real quick. I have you in the chat showing some love to the podcast. That is by way of Michelle, who is in the chat right there, and Ellen D. If you are in the chat, Ellen, I got your donation as well as my brother Jimmy D. And, oh, wait a minute. I missed a couple. I'm sorry. I did miss a couple more. I'm sorry about that. Corinne. I'm not going to say your last name. I don't want people to troll y'all or nothing like that, or look your information up. Issuing the $25 challenge. So if you're listening, thank you very much. Asking for people to meet or beat that challenge. So Korean, if you're listening, shout yourself in the chat. Thank you very much. And then Robin, I think, was the one prior to that. But Michelle was the last one to donate in the Cash App. So if you're listening, thank you very much. It's like, what do you expect in jail and prison? That's what the hell it is. That's what it's for. It's not meant to be nice and comfortable and make sure the food is good. And it's freaking jail. It's supposed to be ass, and that's exactly what it is. But if that's why you're asking for leniency, and you'll get credit for time served if you were in jail that time, so whatever sentence they give you, they'll just minus that off the time you've already served. That's pretty normal. His attorney pleaded for leniency and acknowledged that Conley had felt a deep regret for his actions back in 2020, but who gives a shit? Who cares? It would never bring that baby back, right? That's the part they forget about. The lives that you affect and that you end, you can't bring back. People, you said people forget that these people are here for a reason. Yep, are there for a reason. I agree. After a moment to think about the sentencing, the judge came back in and described Conley's need to patrol the streets back in 2020 with an AR-15 assault rifle, seemingly decided which members of the community got to go down certain streets. After the car Sequoia was driving down a street that Conley did not want them to, the judge said he took the law into his own hands, but a law the judge described as another member of the community just wanting to drive down the public street, saying that Sequoia and her family did absolutely nothing wrong. The judge sentenced Conley to life in prison without the possibility, let me read that again. The judge sentenced to Conley to life in prison without parole plus 25 years. I think that's the right sentence. They got it right. Conley was charged with the following: 3 counts of murder, 5 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of possession of a firearm during commission of a felony, 1 count of criminal damage to property, 10 counts of violating the Street Gang Terrorism and Prevention Act. A former Georgia Bureau of Investigation Gang Task Force agent testified on September 24th that Conley was a member of the Piru Bloods gang and helped control the area where the shooting happened. Executive District Attorney Adam Abate said Conley and his alleged gang set up an armed checkpoint controlling the authority of who could come and go. Turner was sitting in the backseat of a vehicle that did not stop at the checkpoint when gunfire pierced through the car, striking Turner. This baby was shot in the backseat of a car by these fools. And again, who is our own worst enemy in our communities? For people that look like me, the enemy is usually somebody who we face who looks just like us. That's the truth. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let's get it.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Man, it's just crazy, you know. It's like they want leniency, but what leniency did you give this mother to drive down a public street that you didn't have access to control? You didn't show them no leniency. Why should you get leniency? That's why I think they got this correct. Let's get it. Please hit that thumbs up.
And a man will spend the rest of his life behind bars for the murder of an 8-year-old little girl in Atlanta. The 2-week-long trial for the death of Sequoia Turner came to an end just a few hours ago. Atlanta News First anchor Joe Gorcho is live outside of the Fulton County Courthouse tonight. And Joe, Sequoia's family has been fighting for years to get this verdict.
And Carly, that emotion poured out when the verdict was handed out earlier this afternoon inside the courtroom. Sequoia Turner's mother could not hold back the tears. She is thankful that the jury made the decision to find the defendant, Julian Conley, guilty of killing her 8-year-old daughter, Sequoia Turner, just 5 years ago. Charmaine Turner lifts her head, eyes filled with tears. The jury convicts Julian Conley on multiple charges, including the murder of 8-year-old Sequoia Turner. Before sentencing, Charmaine summoned the strength to share the everlasting impact her daughter had on the world.
My baby loved life, she loved her family. She was always happy, Always happy, always full of excitement.
The judge sentenced Conley to life without parole, plus 25 years.
Secoria's parents are serving life sentences without their child. For Ms. Turner, a life sentence in which she relives trying to rescue her baby daughter, trapped in a seatbelt, asking for help, dying before her.
The judge also described Conley's actions the night Secoria died on July 4th of 2020, referencing a video showing him armed and ready to fire. Secoria was riding in her mother's car on University Avenue when they came upon an armed barricade, part of an anti-police protest. Conley now guilty of firing the fatal shot that killed her.
Don't y'all find that ironic? You're against the police allegedly for their disdain for a group of people that look like us, allegedly going against black people. And yes, you got it, James. And they say it's the white man that I should fear. But who was it that ended up taking the life of another black person? How ironic is that? And it continues to happen.
Demonstrated that day an abandoned and malignant heart, a reckless disregard for human life.
A long process, and we got the justice that we need for our innocent child. Secoria was innocent, and she didn't deserve what happened to her. Like sometimes I just lose words sometimes just even thinking about it, because I'm still suffering it to this day, not being able to see my child.
Secoria's family spoke outside the courthouse following the verdict, as did Conley's mother.
We're truly sorry that you lost your beautiful child, first and foremost. I think there's a lot of hands to blame.
Robin Conley says the family plans to appeal the verdict, casting blame at the city, the courts, and the district attorney's office.
I think evidence was manipulated from the beginning. Okay, how would all of the world like to be condemned and held responsible and you didn't get a fair trial?
Secoria's family is thankful for the outcome in court on Friday.
Like a big burden been lifted off our family, you know. We lost a precious jewel. They don't really know what they took from us.
And outside the courthouse following the verdict, we did hear from the Turner's family attorney that did mention that they do plan to continue the civil case against the city and city leadership in regards to the death of their 8-year-old daughter, Secoria Turner. Live outside the Fulton County Courthouse, Joe Gorcho, Atlanta News First.
It's a heartbreaking case. Joe, thank you.
We are on verdict watch as jurors decide the fate of Julian Conley. He's the man accused of killing 8-year-old Secoria Turner back in 2020. 11 Alive's Marissa Sarback has been following this case very closely. She joins us live outside of the courthouse. So, Marissa, how long have the jurors been deliberating so far?
Ron, at this point, the jurors have only been deliberating for a few minutes. They were just charged about 10 minutes ago. We just walked outside Fulton County Court, and we know they have to consider 20 charges in this case. Earlier today, they heard closing arguments from both the defense and the prosecution. Now, the defense asked for a mistrial in the final 10 minutes of the prosecution's closing argument today over a newly introduced computer rendering that portrayed the state's theory of Secoria Turner's murder. The judge denied their motion and allowed the prosecution to finish their closing argument. The felony murder charge in this case for the death of 8-year-old Secoria Turner. The state is accusing Julian Conley of deliberately shooting and killing the little girl in July 2020 as the car she was in drove through the intersection of University and Pryor. Keep in mind, this happened at the height of protests after Rayshard Brooks was killed by Atlanta police in that same area. These are some of the final moments in court today from the closing arguments on both sides, the defense and then the prosecution.
There is an elephant in the room. The city of Atlanta abandoned them. The city of Atlanta said, y'all good over there.
And the police had no other choice but to come. So don't.
If you guys are watching right now, if you're watching, even if you're watching from a TV, hit that up button, press it over to hit that thumbs up and press it and highlight it. Please hit that thumbs up if y'all are watching, okay? So I see the number has gone up with people watching. So if y'all would, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. Thank you. Let's keep going.
Make them think it's the police fault that he decided to pick up an AR-15 and shoot and kill an 8-year-old little girl. It's not the police's fault. It's Julian Conley's fault.
The jury now has to decide and deliberate and figure out whether or not Julian Conley committed these crimes beyond a reasonable doubt. That is the burden of proof in this case. Reporting live at Fulton County Court, Marissa Sarbach, 11 Alive News.
Julian Conley guilty of murder in the shooting death of 8-year-old Sequoia Turner. Her family has waited more than 5 years for justice in this case. And our Daniel Wilkerson is live outside the Fulton County Courthouse with more on the verdict and the sentencing. And Daniel, I understand there was such an emotional reaction in the courtroom today.
Very emotional time, Jobina, yes, in the courtroom. What you could not see watching it online or on television was the audience. To the far right, facing the audience, you had the family of Julian Conley. And then elsewhere in the courtroom, you had members of Sequoia Turner's family, along with their supporters. Now, when the judge handed down the sentence, you could hear some of the members of the Turner family stomp their feet. I watched as others nodded in agreement.
We don't know if the jury found you responsible because they believed the state proved your bullet pierced Sequoia's body or because they found you were a party to a crime. It does not matter. Sequoia's parents are serving life sentences without their child. For Ms. Turner, a life sentence in which she relives trying to rescue her baby daughter, trapped in a seatbelt, asking for help, dying before her. Well, she screamed, "Please help, please someone help."
Now, Julian Conley was found guilty of murder, felony murder, aggravated assault. He was also found guilty of gun and gang-related charges and sentenced to life without parole plus 25 years. Now, Sequoia Turner's family, they spoke outside the courthouse after that sentence was handed down. We heard from her father. We also heard from the mother of Julian Conley, the man sentenced. She says that her son's attorney will be appealing the case. More from both sides, Jovina, coming up on CBS News Atlanta at 11.
Daniel Wilkerson reporting live for us tonight. Thank you so much. We will look for that report at 11 o'clock.
And the thing that they never teach accountability, talk about appeal. So this fool that caused this baby to lose her life is going to be thinking about an appeal when in all actuality what he should be thinking about is the fact that your actions led to the death of a young black person, a young black girl who could have been anything. She could have grown up to become anything, a young black queen. She could have been the next young leader. She could have changed the world. She could have done anything. But we continue to keep cutting down our best and our brightest, our young babies, and don't even give them a chance. By the way, so if you think about Conley, what did he grow up to become? Oh, let's see. Somebody out there throwing up gang sets and repping his hood and repping the streets and drugs and guns. And his life has led to what? So the longer his life went on, the more likelihood that it is that more black people were going to lose their lives. And you know what? It's just like at the end of the day, I don't think that needs to be an appealable thing. So Julian Conley absolutely got everything he deserves. To the rest of these fools, if anybody else participated in this, I think they need the same fate. So again, thank you guys so much for listening to this. That's going to at least give the mom some closure in a situation where it's never going to make it any better. You know, she's never going to get to see her kid again. So this is some justice. So for Sequoia, young princess, let me see if I can get her face back up on the screen. That's probably my favorite picture right there. R.I.P. So thank you guys so much. Leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what you guys think. Do y'all think that's fair, a fair sentence? The sentence fits the crime? How many of y'all believe that? Because I do.